they don't know the actual terms they need to know. Okay, so we are talking about the coordinate plane today. What is the coordinate plane?
I don't know.
It's an L.
It's a coordinate.
Oh no, it's a cross.
Okay,
Yeah,
it
I
is
know
the
what it
graph that we plot points on. It looks like this.
Isn't there like positive and negative
Yep.
ones too?
Oh,
Okay,
wait.
this is something that is a standard starting in 4th
No.
grade. Did you get a paper, Danny?
Why this?
Nope. Question, are we going to be doing like graphing pictures and stuff?
Okay, when we look at the coordinate plane, there are things that we need to know term-wise. Yes, Luke? Is that a question? And these terms are what have got my students in trouble in the past. It's like, I kind of understand and I can plot a point when I need to plot a point, but they don't know enough about it well enough that as we start to talk about graphing and what intercepts are and finding values, it's like, holy cow, I can't do that because I never understood this information well enough to start with. Okay? So there are some things about the coordinate plane that we need to know. Like, we should know that the coordinate plane has an x-axis. Okay, the x-axis is our horizontal axis. And you're like, oh, Mrs. McKinney, I don't know what the word horizontal is. Horizontal is a line this way, like the horizon, right? So the horizon is when we see the sunset. Okay, it's that line we see with the light in the land. You should pay attention to writing this down. Okay, so horizontal is this way. It is exactly the number line that we have been graphing on. Okay, where we have positive numbers to the right and negative numbers to the left. I have one. Okay. The coordinate plane also has a y-axis, and I'm going to kind of do these in reverse so you don't confuse the lines. The y-axis is our vertical line. Okay, so it's the one that goes up and down. Okay, and we have positive numbers on the top and negative numbers on the bottom. So going up is positive, going down is negative. One of the things that I've learned with my students is that they don't know which is the x and which is the y. Okay, so my suggestion is that whenever you get a coordinate plane, you are labeling your x and y axis. You will need to know them for more than just plotting a point. Is that a question, Danny?
Nope. It's a state.
Oh, go ahead.
Is it the X this way and then the Y is this way?
Yep. The x is this way. Your y is this way.
That's a question.
Oh, it is a question. The way I said it was a question.
Okay, the origin, okay, is where the x and y cross. Oops. Now, my students do tend to think about this as the middle, okay, of the coordinate plane, because a lot of the times when we are looking at a coordinate plane, we are looking at a 10 by 10 grid. But I'm going to kind of avoid saying that word because sometimes we'll sort of zoom in to a specific portion of the coordinate plane, and that 0, 0 might not actually be in the middle. Okay? Okay so far? When we look at the coordinate plane, can we agree that this is broken up into 4 individual sections? Right? Do we see how we have sort of have a section over here, down here, and over here? Okay, those are our 4 quadrants. What does the prefix quad mean? 4. Okay, this is where the word quadrants came from. There are 4 of them. We name them with Roman numerals. My students do not love Roman numerals. We have quadrant 1, they go counterclockwise, which feels a little bit backwards. We have quadrant 2. We have quadrant 3.
Not like that.
And we have quadrant 4. Now, another thing that I learned about my students is that they just don't actually understand quadrants. Or not quadrants, Roman numerals.
Why?
Why is it like
Why
that?
to go that way?
To go counterclockwise, I always say an old dead man because women, we probably weren't doing math at the time, but you know, it is what it is. Now, here's the thing that I think we should understand. Students get really annoyed by these being Roman numerals, and what I've learned is that we've just never actually been taught the basics of Roman numerals that we should know. My students are okay with it, like this being 1, and this being 2, and this being 3. Does anybody know what the V stands for in Roman numerals? How much that is?
3.
A V is 5. Okay, in Roman numerals, if you have a smaller number in front of a larger number, you subtract them. If you have a larger number in front of a smaller number, you add them.
What?
So if I have this stands for 1, this stands for 5. So I have a smaller in front of a larger, so I subtract them, and I get 4. Whereas if I were to write it this way, I would add them, and we would get 6.
So, I get it.
That's really.
Okay?
Wait, but how come they do that instead of just writing 1, 2, like
3 and 4.
So then that means X is 10?
Roman numerals used to be a pretty large standard of how we would write things, so I think that's just one place that it's carried over. X is 10, right? So if we wanted to write 9, we would put a 1 in front of the 10.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
There's all, so like we can do C, there's all different pieces. I'm not doing all Roman numerals.
There's a
But like,
C.
yeah, but like people, we're doing like the Super Bowl uses Roman numerals, so it's not like the only time you're gonna see Roman numerals is in the coordinate plane. Okay? Well, depending, I mean, you all know my ability in sports and how athletic I am and whatever Super Bowl it is, I don't know. But like when you see the big logo for the Super Bowl and it's Super Bowl 40, so I don't even know what Super Bowl, I have no idea. I'm totally like making up a number, right? They represent that with Roman numerals.
I know what you're talking about.
That's where it's coming from.
Right?
Here, I'll show you. For all of you who are like, what? I don't even, clearly.
I think like in the middle of the football.
I'm trying to have
Maybe.
Super Bowl 2020.
0 hours.
Images, let's see.
LIV.
This is actually fine.
I know nothing about it.
Right, so this was like 2019. But I don't know what,
We don't see it.
I'm trying to pull it over. Ah! I just don't know what super, like, good grief. So let's see. If we're doing Roman numerals, L is 50. I'm guessing this is nothing? Is that just a symbol in there?
It's just a symbol.
Is it 53? Super Bowl 53 was the last one?
Yeah. See, because that's just a symbol for Super Bowl.
Okay, so let's look at this one. What does an X stand for?
10.
10. So I just told you that the V stood for
5.
50.
Oh.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I said the word V, but I pointed to the L.
Yeah.
The L stands for 50. So we would subtract these,
7.
and that would be 40.
40.
5 with smaller numbers after, so we add them. So this would be Super Bowl 47.
What's that N in the numbers?
XLVII.
I don't. You're asking me too many sports questions that I do not know.
I don't think I've ever noticed that before until you pointed it out.
Right, but they show up in other places, so it's not like it's a totally. I literally know nothing else about the Super Bowl except it's football and 2 teams play, and I do understand football.
Like I just thought it was.
But I have no idea what Super Bowl it would be. You were asking the wrong person.
This is 50.
There was something to happen.
So it would make sense that 54 was coming because the 2019 one was the LIII, so that was 53. So 54 would be coming. So if we wanted to do 54, guys, how do we write 54 in Roman numerals?
I have it.
L.
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 and then
I,
X, B. No, not X, B. Yeah.
Yep, that's what it says.
right? Because this would be 50, and this would be 4.
Then what's B again?
B is 5, so 5 minus 1.
But won't it add the 1 first?
No.
Well, I mean, sure. So 51.
What? I'm
How
so
many Danny knows he's talking
confused.
You give it lower
Numbers,
numbers.
you said if the bigger numbers in front, then you add them together.
Yeah,
One
but
is
then
not bigger than one.
Yeah, but this is, right. This is like you're subtracting off of here. Okay, in graphing, we have ordered pairs. Ordered pairs are always X, comma, Y. Okay, my students often know that ordered pairs are in parentheses. They know that they have 2 numbers in it. Okay, but we have to know that the X comes first. X is always first, Y is always second. Okay, those 2 pieces within it individually are our coordinates. So we have an X coordinate and we have a Y coordinate. Those 2 values together inside the ordered pair. Oh, did I skip origin?
Yeah.
We'll do it in a second. Okay, those 2 values together in the ordered pair tell us a location on the coordinate plane. Oh yeah, we did origin. Okay. Are we okay with all of those terms?
Yeah.
Okay. So then flip your paper over.
I feel like last year someone at my school teached me this one.
Now again, I hope plotting points, this isn't the first time you've ever done it, but I do want to make sure that we are really truly understanding what's happening. If we want to plot an ordered pair, this ordered pair says we need 2 things to be true at the same time. We need the X value to be -9, and we need the Y value to be +6. Okay, so we said the X-axis is this one, and our Y-axis is the vertical one.
Okay.
Okay, so don't write this down yet, but I want you to show you what's actually happening. Can we agree that right here along this line, I am going through -9 on the X-axis?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Okay, and can we agree along right here on this line, I am going through 6 on the Y-axis?
Yes, you are.
So we want where they are both happening at the same time. And they are both happening right here where they intersect. That's where our point comes from. Now, I don't expect you every time to draw both of those lines. Instead, what's more realistic is to know that left and down are negative. So if I want to plot -9, it would make sense to go left 9 and then up 6, because -9 is here, +6 is here, and here's where they meet, right? I'm going left to -9, up to +6, and making a point A. Does that make sense? Hopefully we're like, yes, this is review, I've plotted points before. So you go through and start plotting the rest of those points. Label them with what letter they are. I'll help you if you're stuck. Don't be afraid to ask now. Now is the time to fix it.
I was just making sure we knew how to find it.
No. Yep. What's the new color? I don't really care what you write for here, where they intersect, in the middle of the coordinate plane. Don't move from the origin, whatever. It's the origin, you can just write down origin. I just want to make sure we can find it on the coordinate plane. That all look good going around the room? We say we're okay with those? Okay, so then can we agree to the next statement? If we want to be in this quadrant over here, we would need to go right and up, which means we would need both x and y to be positive values. Does that make sense? If we want to be over here, what would we need to happen? A negative followed by a positive. Excellent. What would we need down here?
Negative and negative.
Negative, negative. And positive, negative. Because sometimes we don't want to have to actually draw a coordinate plane and plot a point to know where we're talking about. It's beneficial to just realize, oh yeah, that's happening in this area. So if we use those rules, and we look at number 7 down here, what quadrant would number 7 be in? Yes, Presley?
Positive, comma negative.
Which is which quadrant? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
4.
Let's skip number 8 for a second. Which quadrant is number 9 going to be in? Danny, what do you say?
3.
You agree with 3? We're going to skip 10 and 11 for a second. What quadrant is number 12 going to be in?
1.
Okay, who thinks they can give me an answer to one of these other ones? Nick, what do you say?
Number 8 is y.
Is y what?
Axis.
Okay, this is going to fall on the y-axis. And here's an important rule to know and understand. If the x value equals 0, we will be on the y-axis. Who can tell me another one? Luke?
11's origin.
Okay, so 11 is the origin, and what is the definition of the origin? What do we say?
Middle.
It's on the x and y axis. Because that's the definition of the origin. It's where they intersect. What do we think about 10? Sam?
It's on the x-axis.
It is the x-axis. And here's another piece we should understand. When the y value equals 0, we will always have something on the x-axis. Those are going to be important terms as we go throughout the next sort of 10 weeks.
Now, what's the activity?
Okay, do we say we're okay with these words?
It's actually pretty easy.
Okay, then, for the activity only, you have all probably done these before, that you've plotted points and it makes out a picture.
Yep.
Okay, so for this activity only, we're gonna connect the dots. They're not super large activities. You'll be able to get like half, if not 3/4 or all the way done here in class. All right? I want to make sure that we are plotting correctly, and one of the best ways is to be repetitive and just practice, practice, practice.
Right.
The other thing that's going to come up is what happens when we have to approximate a point, because sometimes that happens. So I want to make sure we're okay with that too. So 1, 5, hopefully 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My students go, Mrs. McKinney, I hate these because there's so many points on the same grid. Yeah, you're going to be doing that when we get to systems next trimester. Okay, so we have to like be able to adapt and be able to plot multiple things here. Then we'll go to -3, 7. Okay, so for the activity, you are going to connect the dots. Otherwise, don't connect the dots. We're just doing it for the activity today. What if I want to plot the point -2, 1.5? What will I do?
Left up one.
Okay, left 2, up 1, and then a half more.
Right. Not connected dot.
Okay, so, oh, that was terrible. So now it says that we want to go back to 1, 5, but we already plotted the point. So what should we do?
Go back to one.
Just connect it, right? Even though the point was already there, we're connecting it.
We like counters wrong if we don't like do a straight line.
If it's not perfect.